Cooking with the PhD man-child. About $12 to $15 in ingredients, $2 a meal. Nice and cheap. You will need about $10 a kilo pork or any sort of meat you can get your hands on. Green peas and cheap shit potatoes. Just whatever you can find. These assholes are dirty, so we're going to give it a bloody good wash. So the reason why they're probably so freaking damn cheap. Pour frozen peas in a coffee mug, add mint sauce if desired. Cut your potatoes into chips or wedges, whatever you want, it doesn't really fucking matter. This is going to take a bit of preparing, and the cooking is going to just occur in less than 10 minutes. It's minimal effort regardless. Give it about 1 or 2 inches of water. Fucking cunt. Boil for about 30 minutes or so until it's nice and soft, not necessarily cooked. Cold water, who cares? About this ratio, at about a simmering pace, let it take its time. Ooh, tabby cat. So generally these are going to be a bit on the fatty side, so you want to have a small slice and to spread it out as much as you can. If you're a poor student eating nothing but meagre in or takeaway or whatever, you're still feeding really heavy garbage in your body anyway, so it makes no difference. At least it's cheaper and delicious. I'm going for about 5 to 7 mil cuts, and I'm going to let the meat sit in a pan with its spices and whatnot for approximately 30 to 40 minutes before cooking, as to allow the meat to reach room temperature. When you're really pan frying shit, fuck, I need to actually sharpen this goddamn knife. When you're pan frying meat straight out of the fridge, you're going to crisp and sear the outside quickly, and you're going to leave the inside raw and gross. And when you're cooking pork, you're generally going to be drying the fuck out of it, and it's not going to be that decent of a flavour profile. If it reaches room temperature, it's going to sear and cook through evenly easy. The amount of fat in there, it's generally going to lubricate the pan itself with its own juices, so not a lot of oil is required. I'm putting a pinch of vegta, which is a Eastern European Soviet era soup stock made in Croatia. I find it brings out the flavour of meats beautifully, as a salt with a shit ton of dehydrated vegetables and garlic. Slightest amount of olive oil. If you're impressing other people or for mad smell and taste, just half a teaspoon of liquid smoke, and spread that out with the oil and the salt. This is going to soak into the meat as it just sits in this cold ass pan for about half an hour and really penetrate the meat and just not cook and burn on the surface once it turns on. Unlike beef and veggies, raw pork is going to get your ass sick as fuck, so you want to clean down the surface and the knife nice and quickly. Do it properly in the sink. But I'm the PhD man-child. We let this shit sit for a while. Let's go watch some porn. You've had this going for a while. If you stab it and it stays on, it's not quite cooked yet. But if you stab it and it slides straight off, it is pretty much done. So I'm going to say this will take about another 5 or so minutes. Don't worry, you can't really over boil potato. So I'm going to strain that shit, let it cool down a bit. chuck it back in. This is a piece of shit as seen on TV air fryer. Grandfather grabbed it, put a chicken in there, smashed it for about 40 minutes. It was gross, it was dry, it's not my thing, got passed to me. I found out it's a mini oven and it cooks small amounts of shit to temperature perfectly. So there's a few cool tricks and it fucks with potatoes like you would not believe. This thing is a cunt to clean, so I line it with foil. I put a sprinkling of vegeta salt on everything. Too much salt is bad for you, so I further season with powder garlic, paprika to make it that squatting Slav Gotnik mix, olive oil, but my preference would be sesame oil. I just only have this on hand. Yes, I did try to sell this thing. I go for the magic number of 25 minutes. This is an egg timer dial at 200 degrees, whatever Fahrenheit for your American-idsky spy, whatever. This handle needs to go down to complete the circuit and turn on the thing. It's a fan force with a heating element. Seriously, it's very cool. And it's on my modelling desk so I can reheat shit and monitor while modelling. We are done. And you'll find the consistency is beautifully crunchy. We'll let it rest. Though if it gets too cold, we can put it to a defrost or keep warm setting. Chuck a plate on top of the mug. Put it for 2 minutes. And the moisture on the frozen peas will steam it to the perfect consistency. After a while at room temperature, we remove the meat and start preheating the pan. Quick note about PhD man-child's kitchen. This oven stove unit is broken and dirty. I have to use the air fryer, but if you don't have access to that, an oven works just as well. Find the air fryer to be far more ergonomical with energy consumption and far more control in cooking. A larger quantity, obviously, the oven. Oh yeah! With the meat sitting in there for a while, the fat reaches room temperature and leaves a little behind, as well as the oil. It's sizzling beautifully, and that is the sound you want to get. Gonna sear each side for a few seconds, and then just let it cook, and then you let it rest. Now, if you're entertaining, you got someone special, a little lady, whatever, trying to get laid, get your dick sucked, plating is important. When you put hot food on a cold plate, that temperature's going to drop. If you have some sort of cover on top, that's kind of cool, but if you chuck your plates in the microwave for about 20-30 seconds, it makes a huge difference. That is looking good. Perfection. I just absolutely love cooking meat. You can see that the fat's mostly melted and it's just frying in its own lard. You don't have to cook for too long at all, and we're going to let it rest in its juices. So I've just cut a small amount and it's almost all white inside. We're going to just turn it off, remove it, and let it sit. The meat is still soft, it's nice and good. If it's too hard, you fucked up. Sometimes it's good to just cook the meat, let it sit for a while, and re-cook it while the raw, or the centre, is still raw. Double cooked pork. Works an absolute treat. All plated up. That's a proportion of 2 fat, hungry motherfuckers. Air fried, the potatoes have the consistency of a crispy outer and a soft, fluffy inner from the boiling. The peas are firm, fresh, soft on the inside, very juicy, and the meat is going to be very, very juicy and appropriately flavoured. If you want a stronger flavour, instead of reaching for the salt, I'm going to finish it with a bit of white pepper. White powder is always best sorted in a Ziploc bag. And that is dinner finished. $2 a plate. Cheap motherfucking ghetto pork chop. Bon appetit, motherfucker. Peace out.